Aries, let me ask you something. When was the last time your soul whispered, "Stop," and you actually listened? Because if you're hearing my voice right now, this isn't a casual click or a late night scroll you'll forget in 5 minutes. Something pulled you here, something bigger than logic, older than fear, and louder than every doubt you've tried to silence. Take a breath. Feel that? That subtle pressure in your chest. That strange sense that something is moving behind the scenes. Aries, that's not anxiety. That's alignment. That's the first tremor of a destiny that's already turning in your direction. From December 7th to 9th, your entire path begins to rewrite itself. Quietly, relentlessly, inevitably. And over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 8 signs that prove it. But before we begin, ask yourself one thing. Are you ready to hear the truth that's been hunting you? Because once you do, there's no going back. You know, as you sit here with me now, Aries, I can almost feel the way the world has been pressing against your edges lately. Not to break you, but to shape you. There is a quiet intensity around you, almost like the air shifts a little when you exhale, as if something unseen has been waiting for this moment to finally speak. And I want you to hear this the way it's meant to be heard. Not as a prediction, not as a warning, but as a soft hand on your shoulder, guiding you toward the truth you've been sensing but haven't yet named. For weeks now, your life has carried this strange undercurrent, a pull that makes no logical sense but feels unmistakably real. You've tried to brush it off, haven't you? Tried to explain it away, but it keeps returning, like a distant drumbeat only your spirit can hear. That's the thing about destiny. It doesn't shout, it hums. It vibrates in the bones long before the mind catches up. And if you let yourself lean into that feeling for just a moment, you'll notice it has a direction, a temperature, a pulse. It's been meeting you in the quietest places, in the pause before sleep, in the way a random thought hits you at the wrong time, but somehow feels perfectly right, in the sudden memory of a person you haven't thought about in years, or the strange urge to look at a map, a job posting, a doorway you've passed 1,000 times but only noticed today. Most people ignore moments like that. But you, Aries, you're not most people. You were born with fire in your chart and purpose in your blood. So, when your life starts shifting like this, it isn't chaos, it's choreography. This is the energy that rises at the edge of December, the energy that begins rewriting what comes next for you. And it starts with a pull, subtle at first, then stronger, then undeniable. But the truth is, that tug you feel towards something unfamiliar isn't coming from the outside world. It's coming from the version of you on the other side of this transition. The one who already knows where you're headed and is reaching back to guide you through the doorway. And maybe that's why lately you felt caught between staying where you are and stepping into something you can't quite name yet. That tension is sacred. It's the mark of a soul preparing for rebirth. So let me take you gently into the heart of it. Because the first sign your destiny is being rewritten is this quiet, insistent pull toward a new crossroads. A shift so subtle you almost missed it, and yet so strong you can feel it threading through every decision you make. From the very beginning of December, a force has been nudging you, not loudly, not dramatically, but with the unmistakable weight of something ancient. Maybe it showed up as a sudden thought of someone whose name you haven't spoken aloud in years. Maybe it was a place that kept resurfacing in your mind at the strangest times. Or maybe it was a choice you tried to push away, only to find that every part of you kept circling back to it. This isn't whim, this isn't coincidence. This is the energy aligning your path, positioning you for what the days of December 7th to 9th are meant to unlock. Life is rearranging itself around you, Aries, quietly, deliberately, preparing you for the reset your spirit has been waiting to claim. And as we step deeper into this story, you'll start to see why this pull matters and where it's trying to take you next. You know, Aries, there's something I've been sensing in you, something you haven't quite said out loud. It's in the way your breath shifts when the night gets quiet, in the way you hesitate before falling asleep, as if a part of you already knows the world behind your eyelids has been trying to reach you. Dreams have a way of speaking when life becomes too loud, and lately, yours haven't been whispers, they've been doorways. Heavy, vivid, strangely familiar doorways, pulling you into landscapes that feel more real than the morning light. I can almost feel the weight of them on you. The way you wake with that lingering sense of having traveled somewhere you can't quite name. The way certain colors, certain sounds, certain faces stay with you long after you open your eyes, as if they followed you back, refusing to fade. This shift in your dreams isn't accidental. It's the mark of a month where the veil thins, where the mind and the soul sit closer together than usual. December has a way of opening the cracks between timelines, revealing possibilities we're not meant to see all at once. But you, Aries, you've been seeing more than you realize. And maybe you've noticed how your dreams have started to sort themselves into different tones. Some nights, there's a softness to them, almost golden, carrying visions that feel like promises waiting for the right moment to bloom. Love unfolding in gentle shapes, success rising in quiet waves, peace settling around you like warm air after a storm. Other nights feel heavier, not dark in a cruel way, but dark in a way that asks you to pay attention. Unfinished threads, old wounds, people or places you've outgrown, returning not to haunt you, but to remind you of what still needs releasing. And then there are the dreams that linger the longest, the ones that feel like crossroads, where nothing is fully formed, yet everything feels urgent, where your spirit is asking you to choose, long before your waking self knows a decision is coming. You've felt that, haven't you? That subtle moment when the dream shifts, when you sense you're standing at the edge of something larger, and you know you're being shown a direction, not a fantasy. These dreams are not random, they're rehearsals, small glimpses of who you could become, depending on the courage you're willing to hold as the days move toward December 7th to 9th. And there's something else, something more delicate. If a certain person keeps appearing in those dreams, if their presence feels almost intentional, it's because your energy and theirs are touching something in the unseen, a connection rising before either of you is ready to name it. These dreams are trying to show you the shift before it arrives, trying to help your heart prepare for what your world is about to step into. And as you sit with that, allow yourself a quiet moment. Let the edges of those dreams settle. Let them breathe through you. Because the deeper we go tonight, the more you'll realize that these nightly messages are only the beginning. There is another kind of shaking happening in your life, one that isn't confined to the dream world at all. It's happening in the people around you, in the way they enter and the way they leave. And that, Aries, is where the next part of your journey begins. Aries, there's something tender I want to share with you, and I'm going to say it gently, because I know how your heart works. You carry fire on the outside, yes, but inside, you love in ways the world rarely understands. And that is exactly why these past few weeks have felt so strange, so unsteady, almost as if someone reached into the center of your life and quietly rearranged the pieces when you weren't looking. And maybe you've been wondering why certain people have drifted away without a sound, why a familiar presence slipped into silence, or why someone you thought you were done with suddenly resurfaced, as if summoned by a memory you didn't realize you were still holding. These shifts aren't accidents, they're echoes. Echoes of a deeper alignment moving through your life, clearing space where things have grown tight, dim, or untrue. I know it can feel personal when someone pulls back, especially when you love them with that bold Aries heart of yours. But sometimes people don't walk away from you. They walk away from the version of you they can no longer keep up with. Your growth is a language not everyone can speak. And then, in the middle of that emptiness, someone unexpected appears, a message out of nowhere. A hello from a person you thought the universe tucked away for good. Or a new connection so oddly timed that it feels like it stepped out of a story written long before you were born. It's disorienting, isn't it? Watching doors close while others open without warning. But if you slow your breath for a second, really slow it, you'll feel something beneath the surface. A quiet intelligence organizing your relationships with more precision than you ever could. This is the season when life sorts itself, not to punish you, but to free you. Every person who fades right now is making room for someone who can meet the version of you emerging in December. Someone who doesn't shrink from your intensity, who doesn't fear your truth, who doesn't ask you to dim your flame just to keep the peace. The universe is closing old contracts, Aries. Contracts written in moments when you didn't know your worth. Contracts tied to survival instead of expansion. And as they dissolve, you may feel that ache in your chest, that pull to reach back, to hold on a little longer. But listen to me, you're not losing people, you're releasing timelines. And in their place, something softer is coming. Something more honest, something that feels like standing in sunlight after months of cold. If someone has returned, they're here to remind you of a piece of yourself you abandoned. If someone has arrived, they carry a frequency that aligns with where your spirit is heading. And if someone has vanished, they were part of a chapter that can no longer hold the weight of who you're becoming. Take this in gently. Let it breathe in you, because as your relationships shift, your sense of self shifts with them, and you're going to start noticing cracks in an identity you once held tightly. Cracks that aren't breaking you, but freeing you from versions of yourself you've outgrown. And that, Aries, is where our path quietly turns toward the next truth waiting for you. Aries, there's something I want to sit with you in for a moment, something I know you've been carrying quietly, even if you haven't named it yet. It's that strange sense of drifting you've felt lately, the way familiar things no longer feel familiar, the way rooms you used to enjoy now feel a little too loud, a little too shallow, as if you've outgrown the very air inside them. You haven't been losing interest in life. You've been shedding a version of yourself that can't walk with you into what's coming next. And I know that can be unsettling. You try to pick up old hobbies, but they don't land the same. You try to be excited by the things that once lit you up, but something inside you stays quiet, almost untouched. It's like the world is changing shape. Or maybe it's you who's changing shape inside the world. This feeling of pulling back from the crowd isn't isolation, it's instinct. It's your spirit stepping into a deeper chamber of truth, a place where noise can't follow you. You've been trying to make sense of the emptiness, but emptiness isn't a flaw, it's preparation. The space being cleared before something new anchors within you. And maybe you've noticed how often you find yourself pausing mid-thought, wondering why you're not the person you were even a few months ago. Why the mask you didn't even know you were wearing suddenly feels too tight, too heavy, too small for the fire inside you. That's because your old identity is cracking open, not violently, not all at once, but in soft, almost imperceptible lines. Like the first fractures before a seed breaks open and reaches for the light, it's always been meant to touch. You're not breaking down, Aries. You're breaking through. I want you to hear that gently. Let it settle in your chest. Let it interrupt the doubts you've been carrying. Your confusion isn't a sign of weakness. It's the sign of someone standing at the threshold of a truer self. The closer we move to December 7th through 9th, the more you'll feel this shift sharpen. Your edges will feel clearer. Your voice will feel steadier. There will come a moment, almost without warning, where you'll look at yourself. Maybe in the mirror, maybe in the reflection of a window at night. And something inside you will whisper, "Finally." Because that's what this transformation is leading you toward. A version of you that has been waiting patiently behind the noise, behind the expectations, behind the roles you played just to survive. You're stepping into a self you don't have to perform. A self that breathes on its own. A self that feels like truth instead of effort. And as that new identity rises, the world will react. Some people will sense your shift before you even speak it. Some will be drawn to you like warmth in winter. Others will feel uncomfortable, not because you've done anything wrong, but because your growth exposes everything in them that has stayed still. But don't dim yourself to keep the peace. Not now. Not when the universe has spent months guiding you back to your own fire. Take another breath, Aries. Feel how the air lands different now. Because the moment you begin to recognize who you're becoming, life begins revealing what this transformation is truly preparing you for. And that realization is already waiting in the next layer of your journey. Aries, come a little closer for this part, because what I'm about to say touches a place most people pretend they're not afraid of. Money, security, the invisible thread that tugs at your chest even when everything else in your life feels steady. You've been feeling that tug more than usual, haven't you? There's been a strange rhythm to your finances lately. Money flowing in and out with no pattern you can predict. Unexpected costs showing up at the worst moments. Opportunities landing in your lap that feel almost too sudden, too perfectly timed to be simple coincidence. And underneath it all, this quiet question circling your mind. Why is everything shifting at once? Let me tell you what I feel when I tune into you. It's not chaos, it's recalibration. A reset happening beneath the surface. Not to unsettle you, but to strip away the old stories you've carried about survival. Stories that told you to fear lack, to hold on too tightly, to shrink when you should have expanded. You've lived a long time with the weight of trying to be responsible for everything, of trying to make sure no one sees the moments you're stretched thin. Even when you were exhausted, you still pushed through because you didn't want to feel weak. Aries, you've never been weak, but you have been tired, and the universe knows that. That's why things have been shaking around you, not to punish you, but to remind you that abundance doesn't come from gripping harder. It comes from letting go of what's been silently draining you. Think back on the last few weeks. Notice how the unexpected expenses forced you to rethink what truly matters. Notice how the surprise opportunities made your heart jump in that way where hope and fear show up together. Notice how the uncertainty pushed you inward into a deeper relationship with trust, not in luck, but in yourself. This financial instability isn't a downfall, it's a cleansing, a clearing out of beliefs you inherited without questioning, a soft dismantling of the scarcity woven into you long before you learned to speak your truth. And I want you to honor something that you may not have realized yet. Every time your bank account dipped, something inside you rose, a fire, a determination, a voice that whispered, "I will make it anyway." That's the part of you the universe is trying to awaken. As we move toward December 7th to 9th, the energy around your financial life sharpens. You're being positioned for a doorway you haven't seen yet, a connection, an idea, an opportunity that feels like a match being struck in a dark room. It won't feel forced, it won't feel desperate, it will feel aligned, almost as if it was waiting for you to become the person who could hold it. And the truth is, this doorway couldn't open before now, because you were still carrying too much fear, too much history, too many echoes of moments when you had to survive instead of thrive. Aries, breathe for a moment. Feel the air settle inside you, because the instability you're walking through is not the end of your story. It's the clearing before the breakthrough. It's the tide pulling back before the wave returns stronger. And as this shift settles, another part of you is waking up. Not in the realm of money, but in the quiet world of sensation and instinct, where truth speaks long before words ever do. Aries, there's a quiet power waking up inside you, and I can feel it even from here. It's subtle at first, almost like a shift in the air, the kind you only notice when everything else grows still. But once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. It's the sense that you're seeing more than what's being shown, hearing more than what's being said, understanding things before they happen, as if your spirit has stepped one breath ahead of time itself. You've always had strong instincts, but lately, they've become sharper, more precise. You catch things in people's eyes that others miss entirely, the flicker of hesitation, the shadow behind a smile, the truth they try to hide even from themselves. And it's strange, isn't it? How quickly you can tell when someone's energy shifts the moment they enter the room. You're not imagining that. Your intuition is stretching open, becoming something deeper, almost ancient. Like a warrior waking from a long sleep, remembering a skill they never realized they carried. And maybe you've noticed these small signs around you. The sudden chills when a thought comes through too clearly, the nudges to walk away from something that looked perfectly fine on the surface, the way your body seems to warn you before your mind catches up. It's not fear, it's awareness. You're reading the world through feeling now, not through logic. And then there are the numbers, those repeating sequences that keep showing up in the corner of your eye. On clocks, receipts, street signs, moments when you look up without knowing why. And there it is. 1111, 222, 444. Little taps on your shoulder from the universe as if to say, "You're aligned, keep going." These moments aren't coincidences, they're confirmations. Signals that your internal guidance system has come online in a way it never has before. A reminder that you don't need to see the whole path to trust your next step. And as we move closer to December 7th through 9th, this clarity becomes even stronger. You'll notice your intuition speaking in a voice that feels unmistakable, clean, steady, certain. You'll sense who is truly with you and who has been wearing a mask. You'll recognize opportunities that carry real promise. And you'll feel the hollowness of the ones that would have led you astray. It won't feel like guessing, it will feel like knowing. And I want you to let that knowing land gently inside you, Because for so long, you've doubted your own perception. You've given people the benefit of the doubt even when your spirit whispered otherwise. You've talked yourself out of truths your body already understood. But not now, not in this season. This awakening isn't here to confuse you. It's here to guide you toward choices that protect your light, your purpose, your future. Trust the sensations that rise without explanation. Trust the thoughts that appear like sudden flashes. Trust the feeling that tightens or softens when someone steps into your space. Your intuition is not an accessory, Aries. It's your compass. And as this compass grows stronger, it begins to reveal something even more powerful. Not just who you can trust, but what your life is calling you toward. A sense of meaning that flickers at the edges of your awareness, waiting for you to turn toward it and finally see. Aries, have you noticed the way certain thoughts have been arriving lately? Not the ordinary ones that come and go with the rhythm of your day, but the ones that land with a quiet heaviness, the ones that feel like they were sent, not imagined, almost like a spark flickering in a dark room, showing you a glimpse of something larger than your current life. These moments don't feel random, do they? They come when you're washing dishes, or sitting alone in the car, or staring out a window without meaning to. Suddenly an idea arrives, bold, wild, impossible to ignore. A picture of who you could be, what you could build, where your life could stretch if you dared to follow the pulse you've been pretending not to hear. You keep brushing it aside, telling yourself the timing isn't right, or you're not ready, or life's too complicated right now. But that's not hesitation, Aries. That's reverence. That's your soul recognizing the weight of what it's asking you to step into. Because deep down, you've always known you weren't meant to live small. You weren't designed for quiet corners or half-lived dreams. You came into this world with fire in your bones and a path that's never belonged to the average. But somewhere along the way, the noise of survival dulled the truth of that. Not extinguished it, just softened it until the world felt louder than your calling. And now, almost without warning, that calling is rising again. Clearer, stronger, more insistent. It shows up as those flashes of clarity, those sudden visions of a future where you're not just functioning, but thriving. Where your actions finally match the size of your spirit. This isn't fantasy. This is memory. Your soul remembering what it came here to do. And as we approach December 7th through 9th, that inner flame grows brighter. You can feel it, can't you? That steady hum beneath your ribs. That sense that something is aligning around you, preparing you for a choice only you can make. It's almost as if the universe is leaning in closer, whispering, "Do you see who you really are yet? Are you ready to stop shrinking? Are you ready to step into the life that's been waiting for you?" These questions aren't meant to pressure you. They're invitations, open doors, moments where the path ahead flickers into view long enough for you to recognize yourself in it. And maybe it scares you a little. Purpose often does, not because it's too big, but because it feels too true. But hear me, Aries, this stirring in your chest is not a coincidence. It's not a phase. It's not wishful thinking. It's the sound of your destiny rearranging itself to meet you. And all you're being asked to do is listen. Just listen to the part of you that has never lied to you, the part that knows what you're capable of, even on the days you forget. Take a breath here. Let it settle. Because once you allow your purpose to rise, life begins revealing everything that has been standing in its way, sometimes softly, sometimes with a shadow. And that shadow is exactly where our next truth begins to take shape. Aries, there's something I need to tell you gently, because it touches a place you don't show to many people. You've been walking with a quiet strength these past months. Trusting, giving, letting people close enough to see the softer parts of you. And for a while, it felt safe. It felt earned. It felt mutual. But as the energy shifts toward December 7th through 9th, a thin veil begins to peel back. And what stands behind it may not look like what you believed. Not because you were blind, not because you were naive, but because your heart chose hope first. And hope is not a flaw. It's a mark of someone who loves with their whole being. Still, even the most generous heart can feel the air change around a person. A strange coldness behind a familiar smile. A silence that's heavier than usual. A small, sharp truth hiding behind words that used to feel warm. And something inside you whispers, "This is not what it seems." You've felt it, haven't you? that subtle shift, that tightening in your intuition, that sense that someone who once walked beside you has been walking behind you instead, watching, measuring, envying the fire you carry so naturally. Aries, this is the moment when your clarity becomes a shield, because as we approach these days of cosmic reset, their mask slips, not with drama, not with confrontation, but with the quiet honesty of energy revealing itself. A glance that lingers too long, a comment that cuts a little deeper than it should, a hesitation where support used to be. It's jarring. It shakes the ground under your feet for a moment, because betrayal, in its earliest form, is never loud. It's the soft cracking of something you thought was solid. Let yourself feel that. Let yourself acknowledge the sting without turning it into a story about your worth. What they did is about them. Who you become afterward is about you. And here's the truth you need to hold close. This revelation is not punishment. It's release. A divine clearing of the last shadow, standing between you and the life forming on your horizon. Sometimes the universe removes a person not because of what they've done, but because of what they would have done if they stayed. And your path, Aries, is too important to be tangled in energy that dims your instinct or drains your momentum. So, when the truth appears softly, suddenly, undeniably, let it stand. Let it show you what needed to be seen. And then breathe. Because what leaves now creates space for what has been trying to find you all year. You're not losing a companion. You're shedding a weight. You're stepping out of a shadow you didn't realize you were walking in. And as it falls away, your light expands. Your direction sharpens. Your future clears. There's a moment, right after a revelation, where silence feels different, not empty, sacred, like life is giving you a clean page. And every choice from here forward writes a new chapter in ink that cannot smear. Stay with that feeling. Let it wrap around you. Because the path you're stepping onto now is one you were always meant to walk without anything or anyone pulling you backward. And as you take that next breath, Aries, something else begins to rise, softly at first, then stronger. A sense that the story isn't closing here, it's opening. And what comes next is where everything begins to shift. Aries, come a little closer for this part. This isn't something I want you to hear from a distance. There's a quiet truth moving toward you now, and it deserves a moment where the world softens and your chest settles into stillness. Because everything you've walked through, the shaking relationships, the unraveling of old identities, the sudden clarity blooming in the dark, it has been guiding you here, to this threshold you're standing on tonight. You may not see it yet, not fully, but the old version of you has already begun to loosen its grip. The habits you outgrew, the roles you no longer fit inside, the fears that used to speak louder than your courage, they're fading, like echoes sliding down an empty hallway. Not because you forced them, but because life is preparing you for a chapter that can't hold what no longer belongs to your spirit. And that, Aries, is why these days carry such weight. December 7 through 9 is not a prediction. It's a pivot, a moment where the deeper part of you rises and says, I am done shrinking. You've felt it building, haven't you? That strange calm beneath the chaos, that quiet knowing that something is rearranging itself on your behalf. Even the confusion you've carried lately. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of transition. A sign that you're stepping out of the shell you once needed and into a form that feels more like your truth than anything you've worn before. Let yourself breathe here. Let yourself recognize how far you've come. How many versions of yourself you've shed just to reach a place where you can finally hear your own soul speak without interruption. These 3 days, they are the hinge on which your year turns. Not because the universe is testing you, but because the universe is trusting you. Trusting your fire, trusting your instinct, trusting that this time you won't run away from the life that's trying to find you. Everything that felt heavy will begin to shift. Not instantly, not dramatically, but with the quiet certainty of dawn washing the night from the edges of the sky. Old paths fall away, new ones light like lanterns in the distance. The people meant for you step forward, the ones who were only temporary drift back into their own stories. Your finances too find a new rhythm, not by chance, but because you start making choices from belief rather than fear. You stop negotiating with your worth, you stop apologizing for your power, and the world responds. Your intuition sharpens, becoming a compass that no longer wavers. Your purpose steadies itself in your chest, not as an idea, but as a pulse, a direction. A calling you can no longer ignore without feeling the ache of your own potential pressing against your ribs. Aries, you are stepping into the strongest version of yourself. Not louder, not harder, just truer. And as you move toward these days, I want you to carry one thing gently in your hands. The understanding that nothing is being taken from you, only returned in a form that matches who you're becoming. So when the moment arrives, when the air feels different, when the shift inside you clicks into place like a key turning in a long locked door, don't hesitate, walk forward, because this is your beginning. And everything you've lived until now was simply preparing you for the light you're finally ready to claim. Aries, before you go, let me leave you with this. You didn't land on this message by accident. Something in you has been rising, quietly, bravely, even on the days you felt undone. And these days ahead, December 7 through 9, they aren't here to test you. They're here to reveal you. The world is shifting under your feet for a reason. Your spirit is stretching into a new shape. Your path is widening, and the universe is asking you, softly but unmistakably, are you ready to step into the life that has been waiting for you? Take a breath. Feel that warmth in your chest right now. That's your power returning. That's clarity finding you in a way it never has before. That's the quiet truth that you are not who you used to be, and you're not meant to go back. So, let this be your reminder tonight. You are allowed to release the weight. You are allowed to trust the shift. You are allowed to walk into the next chapter without apologizing for the fire you carry. And if this message spoke to you, even in one small corner of your heart, tell me in the comments. Let me know you're here. Let me know you feel the change approaching. Your voice matters more than you think. It connects you to thousands of Aries walking this same rise, this same awakening, this same unfolding. And if you're ready to claim it, write, I'm stepping into my new path. Aries, trust yourself, trust the signs, trust the timing that kept leading you back to this moment. Because your story isn't ending, it's opening. And the next message, the next revelation is already on its way to you. Stay close, stay subscribed, stay open. The journey continues, and I'll meet you in the next chapter.